Hello friends, welcome to javascript.info. My name is Rizwan Khan and we are going to continue our web messenger project series. This is our fourth video of our project, and till now what we have done, we have created a user successfully in our Firestore. Okay, so if you want to see, we can retest this. So let me create a user again, Imran Khan, and let's take the email imran@javascript.info and password. Okay, now sign up process, and it will take a little bit of time, and we have got a response from the server, as you can see, user, and let me zoom it, you can see it properly, and user. And if we open the property user, I have a couple of more properties like the email we have used for the registration, imran@javascript.info, and we have user ID, and we have refresh token. So all these details you can also see over here, because this is the recently registered user, and I have to reload it again. Now if you want to go, you can see imran@javascript.info. Now if you want to go with the documentation of authentication, database, and every product of Firebase, you can simply go to docs. So click over here and choose your platform wherever you are working. So let's start with the web. Get started with for web, and once you are done with the platform, you can see I have a couple of products here, like one of them is authentication, real-time database, and cloud Firestore. So let's see first authentication, and okay, and here what we are going to see, authentication. Now choose again web, and we have a couple of options over here, like sign in with a pre-built UI. So that's a sample project from the Firebase for working. And then we have a get started. Okay, so click on that, and you can see what we have done, get started with Firebase authentication. Okay, so you can register a new user using a method called create user with email and password. It takes two parameter, email and password, and it returns a promise, so you can handle the response with the then and catch. Again, what we have over here, sign in existing user. So once user registered, you can sign in again with the method sign in with email and password. It takes again two parameter, email and password, and you can handle the response with promise. Okay, now if you want to check the like user is logged in or not, it also provide a method called on auth state change. So if a user logged in, states gets changed, and if a user logged out, then again state gets changed. In case of logged in user, you will get a user as a response, means the whole object what we have seen in the console, you can extract the property from there. If a user is logged out, then with this on auth state change function, you are going to get null simply. So you can do in the else section like user is logged out or something like that. Okay, but we are going to use reactjs, so I'm going to use ideal way that you can use everywhere with any like different APIs or REST APIs, token based, something like that. Okay, and let's start again. So I'm going to handle the other things of this. So I'm going to basically create some private route, so only the logged in user can be in the home page, not every users, right? So let's start. And here I have the components folder, and inside the components I'm going to create a private route. So let's create a new file with the name private route.js. Okay, so this is private route.js and RFC. So here I'm going to get the component, so let's give it a name private route. So by default React Router doesn't provide you anything like that, you have to make something like that. So here I'm going to get a private route, and in the props I can get a component back. So I can say like props and import a route, import route from react-router.dom, and we'll say here route whatever we have used in the app.js file, right? So instead of doing div private route, you can simply say route. Okay, and again it requires path, so path will be simply props dot path, and component it requires, so component will be simply props dot component. So I'm going to use this one, private route, copy and go to your app .js file, right? And here I have the home, right? That is the route, only the logged in user can see it, right? Okay, and rest like anyone can. So this is a route. Instead of route, I'm going to use private route. Path I already have, component I already have, that is the home page. Let's save it. Now private route.js, I can act on path as well as props.component. Save. Let's see it's working or not. So go back to your browser and boom, sign up, and something wrong. So let's remove this one, hit enter, and we have got our home page. So private route is working, and let's check the login. Okay, login, something wrong, right? Okay, go back, and the problem is in this route here I am using exact, so that's allow me to do not render other things, only the matched route will be rendered, right? So here I have to say, just normally I'm gonna say exact props dot exact, and it will re-render, and it's not like a normal, right? Login, sign up, and also the home page working fine. I haven't added any restriction yet. I have just created a private route, right? So let's add functionality. Before adding, we have to make sure like user is we have to first register the user and then make the user logged in, right? So let's go to your actions, auth.actions.js, and here I'm registering a new user, create user with email and password. So here the user is here, and console.log. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to update the first name last name also, because I'm getting first name last name in the user object on line number 3. So let's go manage users, and yeah, here you can find something that you can use for update. And okay, I'm looking for that. Get a users provider specific update users file, right? So you can use this update user profile method. So first you have to access current user, right? So let's go back, and here I'm gonna say what is this, Firebase auth.current user, auth.current, sorry, I have to call this auth and not current user. Okay, we'll say const current user and current user dot update profile. Again, it takes an object that is you can provide display name and photo URL. So I'm gonna update display name first, and for the URL display name, like I have the first name last name, right? So I'm gonna use that one, user dot first name space user dot last name. Or let's take this and create a new variable, const let's say the name equals to this one, backticks. Okay, now give it here name. So display name, it will update the name, and again it is going to return a promise, right? So you can handle other things. Okay, so if it give if it is successfully updated, then simply a promise will be like successful, and you can see the command update successful, it is updated, right? So let's go and execute this function. If you are here, means it is updated. If you are here, means it is updated successfully, right? So I'm going to say register other things, right? So here I'm going to say go back, web messenger and database, right? And just close this web, it's fine, right? And okay, I'm gonna use cloud firestore, and let's get started. Manage users in Firebase, right? So no, sorry, cloud store, and you can see I have already done with the setups. Now how can I add details? Like you can see I can simply use db.collection. So name of the collection, you have to create a collection over here with the name users. Let's create, or if you will not create, it will create automatically collection users, right? So users created. You can also do something. You can also add values from here also, like first name type is string and it is going to be res1. Then add more field, let's say last name, and again it is a string, is the value will be Khan, and first name, last name, and we also want to store UID of that user from the authentication table, right? So that will act as a foreign key. Okay, so let's add anything, random number over here, and again we are going to add a created at. So created at is going to be a string, not string, but it is going to be a timestamp, so I can render things like with some order, right? So get the date, and that's going to be a current date, and save it. So that's the first entry. It's the user which is not registered yet. I've just created randomly. We will simply delete it, or it is just not recognized by the authentication table, right? So this is what I'm going to create. So just to go back to your text editor, and we'll say here db, like we already have on line number 7 db dot collection, and then we'll say users, simply users dot add. Again it is going to take an object, so say first name user dot first name, then last name user dot last name, and then UID. So where here I'm going to get UID, right? So user, we are already doing the console, that's user, right? So user, again a property user dot UID, and created at. So here the new date, so it will give a current date and time. Now the user records will be saved, and again it is going to return a promise, right? So you can check for the confirmation, then and catch. Okay, so let's say then. If it then it means it is successfully added the record, otherwise it will give an error. Catch console.log, and it will be an error. Okay, now come here, and here it is successful. Okay, once user information will be saved in our firestore database, then we can make the user logged in, right? So here we are going to store that value permanently, local storage, set item, and here I'm going to say user, and the second parameter will be json dot stringify, and here I'm going to say, so instead of what I'm going to say here, stringify, give an object here, so it will store that object as a string, and I'm going to say like this one, first name last name, copy, and also UID. Okay, let's create a new object, const logged in user equals to, we'll say this one, copy paste over here, and another value will be like UID we are storing, and also we can get the token, like token equals to user dot, again user dot refresh token. That token is not required at all because Firebase handle these things. So we are simply going to show first name, last name, UID and email. That is from the user, right? User dot and email. Now we are going to get a conflict. So just to notice, like our object name is here user, and also I cannot set that name user, so I have to change this one. That is going to be data, and let's make it data, and data for user dot first name, user dot last name. We have created name, and collection users, and user dot first name, last name. UID will be data dot user dot UID, and here again data dot user dot UID for the login user, and user dot email, that is from our side. And that's object is ready, and we will simply let's get rid of this one and add a logged in user. Okay, so we have created a permanent storage of that logged in user. Like it will work like a session. If you're a PHP user, you know like what is session, right? So it will work for the logged in user, right? And okay, once set, then we can simply redirect the user to the somewhere like before console dot log user logged in successfully. Okay, and save it. So this is logged in user, and okay, cool. Okay, let's try this working or not. Once again, back to your web messenger code, reload, and no error. Just go to your log and sign up process and specify the first name. Let's say Shant, last name Singh, and Shant@webscript.info, and password will be 123456. Okay, let's get rid of this console and sign up. And 1 2 yeah, so we have completed our one registration process, and another we have got an error. So Firebase error, missing or insufficient auth action, right? Insufficient permission. I don't have the permission to write in the database. Okay, that shouldn't happen, right? Because I'm a logged in user. And let's see. So our third new user is Sushant@webscript.info, and it registered successfully, but it fails in the storage, the database saved. So here I have the rules, and I have given if false, right? So read and write is false, so no one can read and write, so I have to make sure like the user is logged in. So what I can say here, if false, request dot auth or UID, whatever I have auth, which is auth not equals to null. If request auth not null, then it will allow read and write. Now publish this rule. Now let's try to register another user. Reload, and let's register another user, Vivek Singh, and Vivek @webscript.info. Password will be 123456. Okay, now sign up. And you can see I have something called user logged in successfully. Now let's check your database. go to your data, and you can see over here I have users, the second user, right? So let's check the second user, and this is created at June 30, and the timings and all, first name Vivek, last name Singh, and UID. So this is what I was talking. And also I have the authentication details in this Vivek at the webscript.info. Now also make sure create some dispatch some actions, right? So let's go within your actions file, create a constant. Okay, let's create constants.js, and here we'll write some constant, export auth constant. So the first constant, that is going to be constants, and I will say you can write a lot of constants like user underscore login underscore request. Then you can say simply this user login request. Okay, then user underscore login underscore success, and then you can say simply copy. Okay, and then again you can say user underscore login underscore failure, and you can copy it again and paste inside. So instead of using 3 times, let me do some shortcut. Okay, let's do here user underscore login, that's the only constant. Okay, and here. Okay, so user login, and here I will add dynamically like request, success, and failure, right? So that's auth constant, and go back to your auth.actions file, and here I'm gonna dispatch an action like for the successful logged in user. Dispatch an action. So here I'm going to say type, and I will say user constants. It is auth constants. Auth constant. It is giving you a hint. Get the benefit of it. But auth constant user underscore login, right? So okay, I'm gonna use something like that, something different, backticks, and then use variable here auth constants. Okay, dot user underscore login underscore, we'll say login. So this is success case, right? Success. Okay, login underscore success, and the payload will be an object. So that logged in user I'm going to use here, user, I'll say logged in user, right? Payload will be this one. And before this process start, I will also dispatch an action over here. Dispatch an action like type, we'll say here auth constants dot user underscore login underscore. So it's a request before successful login, right? So it is just a request, and one more that is going to be a failure case, right? Here I'm gonna say dispatch, and type will be let's say backticks again, and then dollar auth constants dot user underscore login underscore failure. Okay, make sure your spelling is correct, right? Or you can also write one more set of constant for underscore success underscore login and underscore failure, and then you can merge both of them or concatenate it. That's here. Save it. So auth constant failure. In case of failure, also in payload will get something like failure message or something like that. Okay, so type over here, and again the payload will be here, payload, and then we'll say error, simply assign error, right? Error dot message. There is a property message within the error, right? Or we'll see first what is that. Okay, error. Or you don't need to even write because it's the same. It will assign, it will create key and value both. So payload and error, right? Now go to your reducer file, I haven't created any reducers yet, so I'm going to create the first one, that is auth.reducer.js, and over here I'm gonna say export default, and this is going to be a method. So this is the only method, right? Here I'm going to get state equals to, I have to get some initial state, right? Okay, so initial state const init state equals to, we'll say here first name empty, last name exactly same what we have created in the dispatch, last name, email empty, and then other property like authenticating, authenticating, that is going to be false, authenticated, that is going to again false, and then error, that is going to be null. Okay, that fine. State, then that is going to be the initial state, and then action. Okay, now again put a switch over here, switch action dot type, and write couple of cases like case, and we'll say here, so right now let's handle all three. So here auth constants dot user underscore login, that is first one is the request, and let's copy this line. Okay, so that is login request, that is success, and here it is going to be failure. Right? And also we need to add a break because this is a case, otherwise it will execute all of them. Break. Okay, now in case of request we will simply take the state and spread the initial state, and we'll say authenticating will be true because it's the moment, it's the time period it is making a request, like couple of seconds or something. In case of success, we'll say again state equals to spread the state and spread the state, and we'll get action dot payload dot user. So that user will give first name, last name, email. Okay, and here we'll say the authenticating, that is authenticated will be true and authenticating will be false, right? Because the authenticating process is completed, now user is authenticated successfully, right? In case of failure, what we are going to get, simply we'll say state equals to spread the initial state, whatever the state was, and we'll simply assign error to action dot payload dot error. Okay, and also we'll say authenticated will be false and authenticating will also be false if there is true or something like that value, right? So it is the three states, authenticating true and then payload user and all, right? So let's, okay, that is fine. And then at the end we have to return the state, return, and we'll say state. Okay, now let's try this one more time. Auth reducer, no, we have to also specify over here, that's a default state, right? So we are going to get something like we'll say here combine reducers, and we'll have to get the auth. So we have imported that combine reducer. Now import the auth reducer, right? So auth reducer from auth reducer, right? And let's assign over here auth reducer, that is the reducer. Okay, and we'll say const root reducer. Okay, and remove this default and export default root reducer, right? Okay, so this is fine. We'll exporting this and this will go in place like here app.js, not app.js, but where is the store within the store? So here is our root reducer, right? We are importing it from the reducer file. Now let's test this. Web messenger, reload it and create one more user. Let's say clean webscript.info, and password will be something similar like others. Clean your clear your console. Now sign up, and you can see the first response, user logged in successfully, and we are done. Now let's check your state global store Redux state. So window.store.getState, hit enter, and you can see I have an auth, and I'm getting authenticated true, authenticating false, that is perfect, email clean, error null, first name last name, and also I have user UID in the Redux store, right? So here I'm gonna use private route. So let's go your private route. Where is our private route? Here. So what I'm gonna do here, instead of props, I can also destructure the props over here. So I will use curly braces to destructure the props, means I'm going to extract the property from the props. There I'm doing this because there is a chance of more than just path component and exact, right? So I'm going to do here I'm going to get the component. So that's the component. I'm going to store it in another new name like component. That's the difference is capital C, right? So this is a new one I have just created, and the remaining property will be I will sum up in a different variable, that is rest. Okay, and we'll say return the route, and instead of using path we'll simply do the rest here, that is rest. Okay, I will spread the rest, so it will spread path as well as exact. Now component, here I can place an arrow function, so I can render the exact required component, right? And if it is in component, so if it is a component, then I'll have to also give it a props. So every component has its own props, right? Now again I will check I will check the local storage dot set get item, and that is nothing but the user, right? If this exists, we'll take it, local storage dot get item user, as well as we have to stringify it, json dot parse, and we'll take this one. If this user property exists in our local storage, we'll parse it and then store it somewhere else, otherwise it is going to be null. Okay, and store it here, const user equals to this one. Okay, now come here, and my text editor is getting small, so here. Now if user is some object other than null, let's say, so we'll make the user logged in. Okay, yeah, the security is an issue, but yeah, whenever it is going to make a request, if it is not logged in user, then that is going to be handled by the Firebase. So Firebase will take care of it. So here, if it is a logged in user, so I will simply return the component, whatever I have extracted from the props component, right? And spread the props, and in the else case, I will return the component, that is nothing but redirect. So if it is not a logged in user, then I will tell him to, bro, this is not your place, go to login and then come back again. Okay, now this is our private route is ready, and now let's test this. go back. Okay, so we have one user already logged in. Okay, that is some user that is Kalim, right? So if I want to go to the home page, I'm able to navigate to the home page, right? And also I'm able to navigate to the login page. But what if I'm not a logged in user, right? So we have to log out, right? So how can we log out? We have to create a logout function. For the moment, what I can do, I have to clear the storage, then it will be logged out from our browser, right? Window.localstorage.clear. Okay, now try to navigate to the home page, and you can see I will back to my login page, right? I'm trying to move to the home page, hit enter, and I'm back to our login page. So this is for the logged out user. So guys, this is it. Thank you so much, and we will continue in the next video the login part of this project. Thanks for watching. Share with your friends. Love you. Bye bye.